On the other side of this Ravens versus Eagles game, there's the winning side. There was the Philadelphia Eagles side. This was a team that is flying high and the best team in the NFL. With the win on Sunday, the Philadelphia Eagles moved to 10-2 on the season. I've had them at my number one spot in my power rankings for the last 2 weeks in a row for a reason. Because they are the best team in the NFL. And I foresee them being up there for the third week in a row tomorrow. I have not done my power rankings. We're gonna once the live show is over, I'm gonna go back and watch the Broncos play. Right? Maybe they can sneak up there. Who knows? Slow it down. But I foresee them being up there for a third straight week. Since their bye, they have won 8 games in a row. And they're just 1 game behind the Detroit Lions for the number 1 overall seed. So when we look at the number 1 overall seed, can the Philadelphia Eagles overtake the Detroit Lions and get the number 1 seed and prove that they're the best team in the NFL? When you look at teams and seeding, it is very, very important. It is very, very important to get that number 1 seed. Now, since the NFL playoffs have expanded to 7 teams, there's only 1 bye. Teams like the Chiefs, teams like the Ravens, Lions, Eagles, the Buccaneers, they all want that bye. Let's just call it what it is. Everybody wants that bye, so everybody's going to be playing for that bye. The Detroit Lions have 15 guys on IR just on the defensive side of the ball. It's gone from 11 to 15 in just like 6 days. What is going on? On the other hand, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're damn near 100% healthy. I see a couple question marks and I see like 1 out, but other than that, they're a pretty healthy team. The Eagles got a pretty favorable schedule moving forward. They play the Carolina Panthers, a much improved Carolina Panthers team, but they play the Carolina Panthers. Then they play the Pittsburgh Steelers, Washington Commanders, the Dallas Cowboys, and the New York Giants to end the season. I can maybe see at most 1 more loss, potentially 2, but I can see one more loss. That being to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Lions, they play the Packers on Thursday. And then they turn around and they play the Buffalo Bills. And then they play the Bears, a surging Bears team that already took them to the brink just 2 weeks ago, right? And then they play the 49ers and Vikings to end the season. I can see a max of 2 losses for the Detroit Lions moving forward. So at best, I can see a win-loss record of them being tied. I can see them both having, let's say, 3 losses on the season. And if my math serves me correctly, the Lions should hold the tiebreaker. So the question is, do you guys see the Philadelphia Eagles overtaking the Detroit Lions for the number 1 overall seed? And I don't think that is going to happen. I don't think it is going to happen. I think the Eagles are a very, very good team. Very, very, very talented team. A team you do not want to play. The Detroit Lions do not want to play the Philadelphia Eagles right now. But the Lions won't get the number 1 overall seed. But the Lions will eventually start to get healthier. But it's going to be a great NFC Championship game. So the question is to you guys, do you guys think the Philadelphia Eagles can overtake the Detroit Lions and get the number 1 seed? Let me ask you guys that question. John says they got a soft-ass schedule. Who, the Lions or the Eagles? Because really, when you look at the Eagles' schedule, the Panthers, they're a much improved team. Hell, they have won 2 of their last 3. They honestly probably should have beat the Bucs if their kicker would have made a damn field goal last night in overtime. The Steelers, the best team in the AFC. Second best team. Then you play the Commanders. They haven't beaten anybody worth noting yet, but they're still a pretty good team. The Cowboys, don't be sleeping on the playoff-bound Dallas Cowboys. Slow it down. New York Giants would love to play spoiler. They got a good defense. So I'm not for sure who you're talking about an easy schedule. The Lions, they play the Packers, the Bills, the Bears. A really good Bears team that's improving. 49ers. Christian McCaffrey just went on IR and Mason on IR as well. So they're pretty much dead in the water now. And then the Vikings. Look out for those Vikings. I was trolling you Vikings fans last week saying, 7 losses. I was totally troll mode. But they don't got to. The Vikings are pretty good. Vikings are pretty good, so slow it down, baby. Casey says that game, regardless of record, I personally count it as a loss. What game are you talking about, Casey? Are you talking about the Packers-Lions? or the Eagles Cowboys? Like, what game are you talking about? Let me know. And John says the Lions maybe get one more loss with the Buffalo Bills. I can see the Lions getting 2 more losses to the Buffalo Bills and the Green Bay Packers on Thursday. So slow it down, baby. And Kaylee. What's up, Kaylee? Long time no see. How are those Bengals doing? And she says the Lions would ruin the Eagles. She said they would run them through them, not even put on no lube. Just wham, bam, thank you, man. Get in there and get the job done. I don't think so. Not so fast, baby. Slow it down. And Daniel Bruner says, absolutely. Absolutely, the Philadelphia Eagles will overtake the Detroit Lions and get the number 1 seed. So, Daniel, right now, the Eagles are a game behind. So, therefore, to me, in my opinion, Daniel, you are telling me that the Philadelphia Eagles will not lose a game for the rest of the season. And the Detroit Lions will lose too. Is that going to help him? Do you guys really think the Philadelphia Eagles will go undefeated for the rest of the season if the Lions lose 2 games? I don't know. That is tough. That is tough. Michael Burlew says no. Absolutely not. As banged up as Detroit is, that team keeps on dominating. I wouldn't call it dominating, Michael. I would call it surviving. They are surviving till they start to get players back. The addition of Jamal Adams could be huge. From what I'm hearing, they're having them play linebacker, so we'll see how that goes. But to be determined, right? To be determined. Casey says, I'm calling it Philly for the Super Bowl. Casey, I'm right there for you. It would not shock me if it's an all Pennsylvania Super Bowl. Steelers versus Eagles. I like it. I like it. My man Josh Olson's in the chat tonight. He said Chiefs are still number 1, but the Lions are the only team in the NFC that deserves to be in the Super Bowl this season. Do they? I mean, yes, they're playing great football. They dominated teams, right? They scored over 40 points 4 times this season. They are injury riddled from top to bottom. 15 guys on IR on the defense. They are. But when you say they deserve it, that means they have, sucked since 57. No, but seriously though, Josh, other teams in the NFC deserve that playoff, right? The Philadelphia Eagles, we had them nothing but for dead going into week 5 into their bye week. Fire Nick Sirianni. Jalen Hurts is trash. He's a bust. He's this. A.J. Brown's a cancer. 8 games later, we're talking about them as the best team in the NFL. 8 games later, we're talking about them as a Super Bowl contender. We're not even mentioning Nick Sirianni as Coach of the Year because, we expected him to be there. The truth of the matter is the Eagles deserve it just as much as the Lions. They haven't gone through the injury plague of things, but they've gone through their fair share of controversy, right? Their fair share of trying to fix the cracks, their fair share of getting things right. Hell, look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They deserve it. They lost their 2 top receivers for at least 3 weeks, right? Mike Evans was out for 4 weeks, actually. Chris Godwin's out. If they make the playoffs, everybody's going to be rooting for them to go to the Super Bowl. So when you say deserve, that's kind of a double-edged sword because there's a lot of teams that deserve to go there. The Lions might put up the best fight in the Super Bowl, but deserve to be there. I'm not for sure if I agree with that, but we'll see. We'll see. Michael Burlew says, I can also see Sirianni revert to his cocky ways and lose a game on a unnecessary 4th down attempt or 2-point conversion. See, Michael, it's funny that you say that because you are a Commanders fan and you know firsthand knowledge of Nick Sirianni doing stupid shit. But on the flip side, Dan Campbell does the same thing. And they're like, he lives and dies by his sword. We love him for that. But when Nick Sirianni does it, he's cocky. He's arrogant. He's this. I don't know. It is what it is. Caroline says, hey, I'm watching my Broncos game right now. We leading right now. Okay, I see you. I will watch the game in full entirely after the show is over. And Katie says, is he finally giving the Vikings some respect? I call it how I see it. I call it how I see it. I see it. The Philly Podcast. What's up? Thank you for joining us tonight. That is a new name out there in the podcast or out in the chat world. It says the Eagles have the best defense, and at the end of the day, Goff is still Goff, and he's shown in the past he tends to choke. Doesn't mean he will, but he has tendencies. Listen, I think the only quarterback in the NFL you can say that doesn't choke in the postseason is Patrick Mahomes. Every other quarterback has had that bad game. Every other quarterback has had that bad playoffs year, right? Jared Goff did have a pretty bad, was it the Super Bowl year, right? Scored, what, three points in that Super Bowl. Shit happens. But did he choke versus the 49ers last season? He put the ball right there on the money. It just bounced off of, was it St. Brown's face mask into the 49ers' hands? It's just shit happens. And Philly Podcast, Jamal Adams is overrated. I wouldn't say he's overrated. He had his dominant times, right? He had his times of shyness. He's just old. There's a reason why the Titans cut him back in, October or whatever it was. There's a reason why he was a free agent out there. I'm just saying he's just old. It was a good signing on paper. It was a good signing on Madden. It was a good signing in the thought process. We'll see how it translates into the field. We'll see how the happenings. You guys are talking about the Chiefs game. I like it. Go Chiefs, go Chiefs. I got my back-to-back Super Bowl flag. Came in to my mom's house. Kaylee says, Steelers, come on now. Even they beat Cincinnati. They almost choked on my defense. That's the worst in the NFL. Steelers are good. Bengals are just that much worse on defense, I guess. I don't know. It is. Kaylee says that defense, the whole organization needs to be redone in Cincinnati. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Philly Podcast says A.J. Brown being a cancer is just a lazy sports writer coverage of the sports because he is a receiver. No, it's because it is the facts. Look at last year, Philly Podcast. Forget who they were playing. I want to say it was the Miami Dolphins. I'm not for sure. But it was before I think they were 10-0. They were getting ready to go 11-0, right? They were up by 17 points. A.J. Brown is bitching on the sideline because he hasn't gotten the ball yet. Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown it his way one time, hasn't made an attempt, hasn't even looked his way. He's over there like on the sideline. Give me the ball. Very next series, 3 plays, boom, boom, boom. All incomplete passes. All of a sudden, the downfall happened in Philly. I'm just saying. And John says Philly is overrated. Slow it down, baby. Slow it down. Are they overrated? They're the best team in the NFL, John. They are the best team in the NFL. Put some respect on their name. Do it. Casey Morgan says Lions had a player post a selfie with half their playbook on the whiteboard behind him. Yeah, shit happens when you party naked. The Lions just don't know how good they actually are. The Lions know exactly how good they are. Like, what, John? Give me one team that, now, if you're talking about girls, like, yeah, that girl doesn't know she's hot. No, that girl knows she's hot. She just doesn't care. The Lions know they're good, but maybe they just don't care. I don't know. Nick Sirianni has great coaches. Don't understand why everyone says Nick is cocky when Dan... Exactly. I said the same thing, Philly. Said the same thing. Stop glazing Mahomes, Buck. There's a reason why Mahomes is on the wall. Greatest quarterback in the NFL right now. Casey Morgan says Goff needs time to mature, and he has done really well this season. Looking forward to the Lions versus Philly NFC Championship game. Probably not going to happen, Casey, but I would be too. Philly Podcast says, trust me, A.J. Brown isn't a cancer. All wide receivers want the ball. A lazy take, in my opinion, by people who cover sports. He is seeing less targets this year and nothing being heard of. I'm not saying I was saying he was a cancer. I'm saying people saying he was a cancer. I just want to be squarely on that. I just want to say, I did not say he was a cancer. People were saying that. But if you think it's lazy, then everybody that talked about Stephon Diggs being a cancer, they're just lazy. Everybody talking about Terrell Owens being a cancer, they're just lazy. Everybody talking about CeeDee Lamb being a cancer, they're just lazy, right? It is what it is. Laura says, Philly is not the best. I'd rather cheer for the Kansas City Chiefs than the Eagles. And John says, Buck, don't go full tart on us. Detroit will beat Philly. Not this week, they won't. Not next week. Not the week after that. Not in the regular season, John. Just saying, not right now. But when we do talk about the Philadelphia Eagles,